Bei ABBA denkt man sofort an große Melodien und starke Stimmen, doch auch die Gitarren spielten eine wichtige Rolle im Sound der Band. Einer, der das maßgeblich mitgestaltet hat, ist Janne Schaffer. Er war an über 50 ABBA-Songs beteiligt, darunter Waterloo und Mamma Mia. Abseits von ABBA spielte er auf seinem Soloalbum Earmeal mit der kompletten Porcaro-Familie, die später als Band Toto weltbekannt wurde. Und vor kurzem war er mit uns auf Tour bei ABBA Mania The Show. Ich habe die Gelegenheit genutzt, ihn zu interviewen, und das seht ihr jetzt.
Thank you so much that you take the time to have a chat. I know you now for 3 years on tour and you have so much stories, and I thought it would be so great to record it for my YouTube channel. Because it's incredible. I mean, we don't have so much time to talk during the tour, so thank you so much that even after this gig, you know, you take the time to do it. So thank you very much.
I enjoy playing with you. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Very good. Very good.
It's so fun. With you. And really honored to share the stage with you. So I just have a couple of questions.
Absolutely.
Especially I give lessons, especially for kids, and it's really great to have somebody to talk. You know, like. I mean, you play with ABBA, one of the greatest band of the world. So it's so nice to that you share your experience. So the first question was not about ABBA, but the first time you had contact with a guitar, or first song you learned, or anything that the first time you had a guitar in your hand.
I know exactly when.
Oh, cool!
Yeah. My parents were educated in classical music. My mother was a piano teacher. My father played violin, and so I grew up with classical music. And my mother tried to make me play the piano, but I thought she had so many pupils at home, so I realized I can never play as good as she could. She was really, really good. But I was going in a school, Blackebergs läroverk. It's a high school in Stockholm, and I did something in. I did some in. I don't know the English word for it. Slöjd. What do you think? Could that be? When you make tables, you make earrings. It's like a carpenter, you know. Like a carpenter. So I was. I did a lot of things, and this was 1957, and. I had a lesson with my teacher, and I looked in at his room next to the classroom we had, and there was a big guitar hanging on the wall. So I asked him, could I build one like that? And he asked me, do you think you manage? Yes. I was 12 years old. So I said, I absolutely want to build acoustic guitar. It took me 1 year.
Wow!
But I managed. So, and I had to pay all the stuff, the wood and everything around it. But when it was finished, I took it home, and I bought a book with all chords. And my mother had taught me about the harmonies and everything, how it's built up. And I started, and then immediately when I took the guitar, I felt this is the instrument. This is my instrument. Yeah. Though it was a acoustic guitar, and for a while, and we got a group together, 2 acoustic guitar and 1 mandolin, and we played Kingston Trio. Hang down your head, Tom and Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. It's a terrible song, but we played that, and after a while I noticed I want to hear myself much more. But how should I do that? You get an electric guitar, and I had a small amplifier, and I took it to next gig. I just took a new guitar, and then I started the electric guitar. So that's how I started actually.
Do you still have owned that guitar?
I haven't given it away. I don't know exactly where it is, but I have a picture of it at home. Yes, but I don't know exactly. But it was in tune. You could play on it, and so it was fantastic. So I really, from the very beginning, I know how a guitar is, and it's difficult to be good to build a guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's amazing. That's a great story.
It's true.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's true.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's a really amazing story. I didn't know that. So now let's go to the first work that you had with Björn and Benny, or actually the ABBA. How was it? Was there a schedule, or was it exact time where to work, or was it free? How was it?
It was very special because I started in 1970 as a session musician. I worked because I got hired for doing sessions for artists, and everything was arranged. It was a big arranger in Sweden, orchestral leader and so on. And Stickan Andersson, who started the Polar record company, he had hired Björn and Benny to be producers, to look for young kids, young talents.
Okay.
And Björn Ulvaeus told me a couple of years ago that it came a lot of cassettes, which was the media at that time.
Yeah.
And he said it was only two who were special. And one guy was Harpo. He made Movie Star, you know.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And the other one was Ted Gärdestad, he was 15 years old. And they said, we can make two young artists. We give away Harpo and we take Ted Gärdestad. And then they called me up and asked, I came to the office, the Polar office, and they were sitting, and they asked me, then Ted was sitting playing, and Benny asked me, what do you think about this? I said, this is fantastic. This music went directly into my heart. It was so incredibly good. And then we record, And they hired a studio in Stockholm called Metronome, and there was Michael B. Treto, he was the engineer. And then they asked me, do you know a good drummer? Yeah. Ola Brunkert, I played with him. Yeah, and a bass player, Mike Watson. He came from England, lived in Stockholm. And then we started to record Ted Gärdestad's first album. And when Ted had made his vocals on the tracks, they said, we need a choir. We called the girls. And the girls were Anne-Frid and Agneta. And that album was released 1972. And Ted Gärdestad's first album was named Wanderings. But before it was released, they called me up and said, you know, it works so good in the studio. We have written a tune of our own. Do you want to record with us? They called me, Ola, Mike, and Mike Betreto, and they said, we have a tune called People Need Love. Do you want to play on it? Yes. And that's when it started. But when we went to the studio, both Ted Gärdestad and, of course, Björn and Benny produced his 4 albums with Ted Gärdestad. And it was the same musicians who played on Ted Gärdestad as play on ABBA. So we were sort of group, like the Wrecking Crew, you know, in Los Angeles. We knew each other very well. But when we came to the studio, there were no titles, there were no lyrics or something, just the music, the melodies and the harmonies. So we sat down, and then Benny played a song on the piano, and we sat down, write all the chords down, and then we played and played and played and tried to figure out how should we do that. And we were improvising in the studio. So I think almost all tunes in the beginning, the first 2-3 albums, it was like that. After that, it became Björn and Benny developed So after a while, they said this is, and also with the big help of Michael B. Toto, who was the engineer, who tried some new way of recording, overdubs and to change the speed of the tape recorder and so on. So its sound was suddenly very big, you know. And,
wow.
But every time we recorded was fantastic. We had very good feeling in the studio. We were very happy and no stress, no take it easy. But we're very focused on on the music. So there were no party or something like that. But there were no stress and really to get the right mood, to get the right track.
Wow.
We could work for 4, 5, 6 hours just on one backing tracks, you know. And then there are different things, because on a couple of tunes I'm doing overdubs, like on Dancing Queen.
Yeah.
I'm doing overdubs, and Voulez-Vous also overdub. But in the beginning, the backing track was, we played live in the studio, bass, drums, keyboard and guitar. So.
And did you know at the moment that you were playing, this is going to be a hit?
No. We didn't know either. I didn't know which tune it was. Yeah. I didn't know the title. I didn't know the vocals, anything. No. Yeah. But I realized that we were very cautious and we were focused on the music so much. I thought this is good quality.
Wow.
Because it was both Ted Gärdestad and ABBA. They were similar in the Ted Gärdestad made his lyrics in Swedish, but ABBA just made it in English. But they really wanted to make it international, and we tried we played our asses off. I must say, we played as good as we possibly could. So it was a lot of hard work, but we had a lot of fun all the time. Nice. Also. Yeah.
And what's the feeling to play the tunes that you play with us? I was even born.
Yeah.
And now playing Voulez-Vous, Dancing Queen, the guitar. Maybe you're the first guitarist that I ever heard in my life, because in some way I heard like Dancing Queen or Mamma Mia, and so I heard the guitar. You know,
I play on Mamma Mia as well, but so, that session I don't remember.
Yeah, okay.
But I remember Waterloo and Dancing Queen also, because that's an overdub. But I would never have to play those songs 50 years later in such big halls in Germany. It's incredible. It's hard to believe. It's really hard to understand. Is this really true? How did we actually do this? And it was also a door opener for all Swedish music. So Roxette and Europe and Avicii and Max Martin, everything came after that. But I must say, ABBA was the start.
Wow.
But I must mention that we have a Swedish music tradition, because the generation before me, I played rather much with those guys, and they were extremely good jazz musicians. So the music tradition in Sweden is very, very high level. Nice. So it's and we must be aware of that. That is really hard work, and the education now in Swedish schools are very, very high. So it's important to give it away to young kids so they can go on. So,
nice. That's an incredible story, because you were there before ABBA was created, isn't it? So like you were involved in creating ABBA, and you were there where Toto wasn't there, but you were there before that. You know, like,
at the same time, I never toured with ABBA, because 1974, when they won with Waterloo, I was playing on Waterloo. I sat in the Swedish Melody Symphony Orchestra as well. I played live with it when they won. But I didn't play on Brighton because it was the first time they made a backing track.
Yeah.
But at that time, I had made my own solo albums. So I had my own career playing instrumental music. And I found a very good friend of mine, Björn Isolin, and we started a group together. So I never toured with ABBA. And what was the question now?
Yeah, well, it's like, because you were at the start from ABBA, but,
yeah,
but you were at the start at the same time from Toto, isn't it?
Yeah. How I came into that. You know, since I did my own, I didn't go on tour with ABBA, but I played on the records.
Yeah.
And I made the first album, I was #1 in 6 weeks in Sweden. I sold more than ABBA, more than 30 other stuff. And the second album was also rather big hit. And then I made a third album on CBS. And the manager of Swedish CBS, he took my album to a convention in London for international CBS. And they listened to it, and they released it in the States. And I got so good review in American paper called Rolling Stone. They really said this is really good music. So there were two managers from CBS came to Stockholm and listened to me live. I said, we want to record with you in Hollywood. Do you want to record? Yes, why not? And then they said, ABBA is not so pop. You know, we know that you play a lot on ABBA records, but ABBA wasn't a hit in the States at that time. So it was just in Europe.
Yeah.
So I played with the CBS All Stars in Montreux Jazz Festival, and I played together with the biggest musicians, jazz musicians. I played with Billy Cobham, Alfonso Johnson from Weather Report, George Duke on keyboard, Bob James, and on saxophone, Dexter Gordon, Stan Getz, Woody Shaw, and guitar, Eric Gale and Steve Kahn. And I was very nervous, but I had to play solo in the first track. Stan Getz played the first solo, Woody Shaw the second one on trumpet, and I played the third. And that was, I managed to do that in front of 3,000 people, and it was one take.
Wow.
And it's recorded, and I also have it live. And then they said, that was the ticket to record in Hollywood. And the first thing they asked me what kind of producer I wanted. I said, I can produce the music. I'm in control of the music, but technical-wise, I mean how a tape recorder is working. So I need somebody producer who's very good at engineering. And we got Bruce Botnick, who was working with the Doors, and he also worked with Loggins and Messina and the Earth, Wind and Fire and a lot of things. So he was very good. We came along very, very good. And I had the keyboard player was Björn Isolin, my best friend. He was extremely good. He was one of the best musicians I played with. And also Peter Robinson, who lived in Hollywood, Englishman, and he played a lot with Phil Collins, and he was a session musician. But I didn't know bass and drums, and somebody asked me, you have a lot of records recorded in Hollywood. Look at one, and I listened to a lot of albums I had, and then I had an album with a guitar player called Les Dudek. Les Dudek was playing with Allman Brothers, and I said, this is a very good drummer. That's typically my style. Yeah, what's his name? And I looked, his name is Jeff Porcaro. Do you know? Oh, you have good taste. He's the hottest drummer in LA. Oh yeah, you have good taste, Janne. Oh yeah, thank you. And when we came over, I met Jeff. And I asked him, we have no bass player. I asked him, but do you know a bass player? Yeah, my brother, Mike. Yeah, okay. We need a percussionist. We take the father, Joe. And then after a while, also the third brother, Steve. So I recorded, and when we recorded, I recorded, and I can say when I recorded my album, I prepared very careful. So I had a lot of instrumental tunes, and everything was written out. But I mean, when I record, it's a live musician. I don't say to Jeff Porcaro, you should play like this. I mean,
okay, yeah.
he knew that he could read the music, and I played the rhythm, and he found out the way to play drums. Yeah. And that one of the tunes have been sampled by many hip hop artists, KRS-One and Lady Rage and so on. But also when we went on fantastic, very well. So, and suddenly one day Jeff told me and Björn, come to we have started a group on our own and come to our rehearsal studio. We went to the rehearsal and with big loudspeakers, and he put on a tune, and it was fantastic. What do you think about this, Janne? Oh, this is fantastic. Yeah. That was Hold the Line without vocals. And he said, you know, we have some, there's a group in Europe we like very much. Which one's that? That's ABBA. Oh, okay. And it's so clever just to have 4 letters and 2 of them are the same. ABBA. So everybody will remember that. That's why we call ourselves Toto. So that's the story behind that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's such a nice story. I mean,
yeah.
So great.
And I actually, when they did the first promotion tour and came to Stockholm, they asked the record company CBS, where is Janne and Björn? And we were playing out in Stockholm and outside the center, and they came and we had a jam session.
Wow.
Yeah, so
amazing.
It was fantastic, yeah.
Amazing.
Really.
Great. I thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to hold too long, but one last question.
Yeah.
Is like for the young fellows that starting guitar or and want to do it professional, what would the one advice that you would give to somebody to
I mean, to play music is the best way of living, I think, and the best instrument in the world is the guitar. But there are other instruments, the flute and drums and everything. But I think you must be very focused in what you want. You have to think, am I going to do this professional, or as just like a hobby that, I mean, everybody should play because they gives you so much in life. You know, your connection with people, and you have fun together. And if you're singing also in choirs and so on. But if you want to be professional, you should really go to school and learn everything about harmonies and also how to write music and arrange music, and also the technique to record. Is so high competition, so many good musicians, and it's very, very hard. So, and my parents told me, you can be anything, Janne, but not a musician, because it's not so secure. And I didn't understand that at that time, but I understand it now, because it's so, and you have to be very careful. And if you think that going out playing on the road is a party, doing drugs and alcohol and have a party, you're not on the right way. Yeah. You have to be very cautious, and you have to really, maybe you have to avoid some things that you want in life. I mean, I was married before, but now I'm divorced. It's hard to have a family life. Yeah. And it's a lot of things, and you must think about it. And maybe you can play for a little while and then leave it, or it depends also what you're going to do. If you play in a symphony orchestra, it's quite another thing. If you want to play jazz or pop, it's another thing. So it's rather complicated. But going to school and learn how to read music and to write music is very, very important.
Wow. Janne Schaffer, Thank you so much for this beautiful interview. It was so nice. I mean, we could. I think we could talk for the next couple of hours.
Absolutely.
But that is so important. The last part, especially like for the young fellows that going to play guitar. But all your stories is amazing. I mean, thank you so much for taking the time after that long gig, and you're still here talking about music. That's such an honor for me that you took your time. So thank you very much, and
thank you
to see you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing with you.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, really great.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Janne Schaffer. Bye.
Yeah, bye.